Welcome back to Mobility Insider. I'm Morten Hannesbo. Our channel remains unsponsored. All of the views and conclusions are based on me having had a 35-year career in automotive. Škoda's history goes back to 1895. At that time, Škoda was building first bicycles, then motorcycles, and later they went into car production. In 1990, Škoda became part of the huge Volkswagen Group, and today Škoda is a symbol of robust Czech engineering. Škoda is mainly a European brand, but it does sell cars outside of Europe as well, among other countries in China and in India. Škoda is currently considered the most successful brand in the Volkswagen Group because of its high profitability and because of its sales growth. In terms of volume, Škoda is selling currently almost 1 million cars per year. In 2020, Škoda launched its first dedicated electric vehicle, the Enyaq iV, and that is built on Volkswagen Group's MEB platform, which also underpins the Volkswagen ID.4, the Audi Q4 e-tron, the Cupra Tavascan, of course the Škoda Elroq. But the Enyaq has consistently been praised for making the best use of the platform with class-leading space and practicality. For the 2026 model year, the Enyaq RS has matured into the brand's electric flagship. It's been updated with faster charging, improved efficiency and a sharper design, and especially in this coupe version. And it is now positioned against rivals like the Tesla Model Y Performance, the Kia EV6 GT, the Mustang Mach-E GT, or even the exotic smart #5 Bravos. The charging speed is competitive, but it is no longer up there with the best in the class. Competitors like the Kia EV6 GT, they charge with up to 350 or even 420 kilowatt, and that will almost half the charging time compared to the Enyaq. The top speed is limited to 180 kilometers per hour, and we measured the acceleration to be 5.67 seconds 0 to 100. That is fast enough for most drivers, I think, but if you compare it to, say, the Kia EV6 GT or the Tesla Model Y Performance, they will cut off 2 seconds of that acceleration time 0 to 100. So this is called the Enyaq RS, and it is indicated here with this badge. So why does Škoda call the car RS? Well, it actually goes back to the 1970s. Škoda had a rally car called the RS 130, won its class in the Monte Carlo rally in the 70s, so there's some heritage there. But it doesn't mean really sporty, high-performance cars at Škoda. What it does mean is that this is the car in the range, the Enyaq range, that has the most power and the most equipment, and that's indicated with the RS badge. Visually, the RS version does stand out. The coupe roofline gives the Enyaq a sleeker silhouette, and the RS adds sportier front and rear bumpers. It sits about 15 millimeters lower at the front and 10 millimeters lower at the rear, and it carries these subtle green RS badges. The front grille uses Škoda's illuminated Czech deck design, glowing at night for extra presence. And these 21-inch Vision RS wheels are a 890 Swiss franc option. The color choice is white with 10 colors to choose from. Energy blue is a standard paint. The other colors cost 870 Swiss francs, and there are 2 premium finishes that will cost you an optional 1,440 Swiss francs. The trim pieces around the windows and the grille come in glossy black, and the matrix LED headlights bring adaptive high beam, cornering and motorway functions. Since 2024, the MEB platform cars, including the Enyaq, they now have the AP550 electric motor from Volkswagen. That's an excellent electric motor, and that has improved both performance and consumption. Škoda promises a WLTP range of between 551 to 560 kilometers, and for city driving even up to 678 kilometers WLTP range. They also say the consumption is between 15.8 kilowatt hours to 16.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and you'll see later in the test what our result was. When you step into a Škoda today, obviously you are impressed with the quality, the design, and it's a really modern car. Back in the late 80s, when I started working in the automotive industry, there was an advertising from Citroën 2 Chevaux, and it said something like, det Škoda en latterlig pris, and that means something like the price of this car, which means the Citroën, is hilariously low. And they use the Škoda and the Lada brands to position Citroën in a low price bracket. And because, you know, at that time, Škoda was in a very low price bracket. Not any longer. Now Škoda is comparing itself to some of the best brands in the marketplace. Overall, the design of the cabin is really very modern and sporty, but it is also family friendly, and Škoda has put a lot of emphasis on all the clever storage in the car, so you have enough space for all of your belongings when you're driving. In this car we get the optional design, the RS suite, and that gives you seats that are ventilated and gives you this material which is Alcantara-like, very nice to use in daily usage, and it looks good as well. This is a pack that costs 1,100 Swiss francs, and of course, you know, I think it's worth the money, but you can also choose the standard trim. In terms of in-car entertainment system, Škoda gave the Enyaq a big update for this model year, and that was actually also overdue. Now we get a fine screen with a super resolution, everything responds quite fast, and that is a big improvement over the last one. Something I would say is that the numbers, when you see, for instance, the fuel data, the consumption data, they are quite small and it's difficult to read when you're driving. But overall, this is a fine system. You get a sound system with 10 speakers, a Canton equalizer, and it sounds fine. In the front of the driver, you get a small screen that tells you the key information like the speed, state of charge, and the consumption. And you also get a head-up display in front of the driver, and that is really useful too. There you can see the speed limit and the speed at which you're currently traveling. The design of the cabin has been made really well, I think. It's modern without taking it too far, and it's also fairly sporty, but still with a nice touch of a family car. There's many clever details in the car. You of course have an inductive charging for your phone. You also have a space for a second phone, a smaller phone if you need that. You can adjust the drinks holder to have a large bottle and a small bottle, and you can take it out entirely. You can put in a charging card here. Plenty of space for all of your belongings. You also get cable-less Android Auto and of course Apple CarPlay. I've been using CarPlay over the last 10 days and it works absolutely perfectly. Another new feature is that you can remote park the car using the Škoda app. I can't show that to you because I don't have the app connection, but you can. But in everyday usage, what is great is that you have very clear cameras, and you can of course use the cameras to have a 360-degree overview when you are parking your car. You just use the cameras, you can see the front, see the rear of the car, the side of the car, so you can park the car in a narrow spot. Almost as far as I can remember, at least 15 years, Škoda has used the
Škoda, simply clever,
for their cars. And that, among other things, means that they have added ideas that you don't find in many other cars. For instance, you have an umbrella holder and an umbrella in the driver's side door. You get an ice scraper that is mounted in the rear hatch. Of course, you get cargo nets, you get a cargo space divider, and all in all, I think Škoda does some of the most practical interiors you'll find in any car. In terms of space, very spacious. The Enyaq sits on the same platform as some of the other Volkswagen Group cars, including also the Škoda Enyaq, by the way. But in the Enyaq, you get the best usage of that space. You get 517 liters of storage space in the rear cargo compartment, and that expands to 1,610 liters if you fold the rear seats. For peace of mind, Škoda gives you a 2-year warranty on the cars with unlimited kilometers. For the battery itself, you get a 160,000 kilometer 8-year warranty, and for cars sold in Switzerland, you have another year warranty, so you get 3 years with a maximum of 100,000 kilometers. And you can extend that by another year if you want, for approximately 900 Swiss francs. So how does the Škoda Enyaq RS drive? Well, clearly Škoda tuned the car for relaxed everyday driving. This is not a car that is chasing speed records. This is a car that will give you pleasure every day you drive it under normal conditions. So if you compare it to some of the other cars in this segment in the same price range, let's say the Tesla Model Y Performance or the Kia EV6 GT, the Smart #5 Bravos, all costing about 65 to 70,000 Swiss francs. I mean, they're much faster than the Škoda Enyaq. So the RS badge is not about racing or rally sport. This is about the high end of the range that Škoda has for the model, and it gives you an everyday package which is tuned to comfort. The car drives really well. It is a relaxed drive. You can of course change the drive modes. You have the option of Eco. Now we're in Comfort. You can change to normal. It's very similar to Comfort. You also have a sport setting, and for winter driving you have a traction mode, and you can also program the settings to be to your individual taste. It is a very comfortable drive, and this is where the car feels at home, and the driver will most likely, as I do, drive in comfort mode or in standard mode. The drive assist systems in the Škoda Enyaq are typical for the Volkswagen Group MEB platform cars, are very easy to use. They don't intrude too much in your driving. So if I now activate, it's fully everything that can be automatically assisted is now automatically assisted. And the car is so relaxed, it will help you and it will guide the car to stay in the middle of the lane if I get too close to the white line. But it's not intruding. It's one of the best systems, at least if you take the non-premium segment, then you get probably the best from the Volkswagen Group. In terms of power, the car has a dual motor setup. You get the AP550 motor, which is the new Volkswagen Group motor, and that is very, very good. That's mounted at the rear axle, and you have another motor in the front. Together, they have 250 kilowatt, 340 horsepower in total, but that is only if the car is fully charged and the temperature of the battery is at the optimum temperature level. Otherwise, you have 25 kilowatt less, so you have about 300 horsepower in total as your disposal when you drive under normal circumstances. The car is responsive. The acceleration 0 to 100, we measured that to be 5.67 seconds. So it's not that fast, but of course it's fast enough for most drivers. In terms of consumption, the car is okay. I have a long-term consumption based on 563 kilometers so far of 18.1 kilowatt hours, which is, by the way, exactly the same number as we had when we did the standard test route, 57 kilometers in mixed driving, and that was also 18.1 kilowatt hours. If you want to translate that into range, you can get at least 400 kilometers under most circumstances, and with that average number you get 440 kilometers of everyday range. The 2026 Škoda Enyaq RS Coupe shows just how far the Škoda brand has come over the last 10 to 15 years. It has moved from a utilitarian Eastern European brand into something that is well considered to be a high-tech and a very modern vehicle that can easily compete with the best non-premium brands in Europe. In terms of weaknesses, the Škoda Enyaq is almost as expensive as some of the premium brands like the Audi Q4 e-tron or the BMW iX3. In terms of performance, it doesn't have strengths and it doesn't have weaknesses either. It is just right for this segment. What you get is fast charging, 26 minutes and 45 seconds from 10 to 80%. The car charges with up to 185 kilowatt, which of course is good, but it's not fantastic. Acceleration from 0 to 100 is 5.67 seconds, which we measured. That's including winter tires and was rainy conditions, so that's a good number as well. But if you compare that to the best in the segment, the Kia EV6 GT or the Tesla Model Y Performance, obviously there you get higher performance numbers. The top speed of the car is 180 kilometers. For me, that's quite all right. I don't think many people driving a family SUV will go faster than that in Germany. The consumption we measured over a period of 10 days and 655 kilometers was an average of 17.8 kilowatt hours. I think that's a good number, but again, you'll find competition that does that better. But what I really like about the car is the styling. You see that the updates they have made for 2026 really has made the car much more contemporary. It resembles, of course, the new Škoda Enyaq that carries the same front design, and the color choice and the materials in the car are all up to today's standard. Two more things about the Škoda Enyaq and the Škoda brand in general is that the build quality is really very good. It is up there with the best in the non-premium segment, and I think actually it is as good as the Audi cars we see as well. Also, what I like about Škoda is the clever solutions they have in terms of storage, also in terms of the umbrella holder that is here in the driver door, the ice scraper that is easily accessible in the rear hatch, etc. That's something that Škoda does better than anyone else. I've decided to give the Škoda Enyaq Coupe RS 3.5 out of a possible 4 stars. The reason for not getting a 4-star verdict is that the car is a little bit too pricey. The consumption numbers show that the technology has been in the marketplace for a few years, and that's why I have to mark it down just a little bit. But I'm quite sure that the customers who choose to buy a Škoda Enyaq will be very happy with that choice, because it does not really have any significant weaknesses. Thank you for watching Mobility Insider. Please share, subscribe and like, and don't forget to comment in the section below, and I'll see you in the next video.